So we decided to become venture capitalists. Even though we had no experience and we had no right becoming investors, we just jumped for it.
To Utah, no
To
less.
Utah, yeah. All along the way, you're being told you're crazy, this will never work. And you don't know if they're wrong until you prove them wrong, right? What injustices are we going to try and fix? Because you can't do everything at once. So I think we started with women and people of color. And then we started to look at what else are people being discounted for. And one of the men at the end of the day handed me his glass and said, "Thank you so much for this time together," or arranging all
Oh
of
my
this.
God.
Exactly my reaction. We were in the same room, the same 2 days, sharing ideas, working together, and he assumed that I was support staff and handed me his glass at the end of the day.
Welcome to Heart and Head Work. I'm Rocky Donati, and I'm here with my business partner, Maven.
Tessa Arneson, thanks for coming, y'all.
Thank you guys so much. You're in for a treat. We have Kimmy Paluch, as she has said her name to us so many times. And I may have fucked it up, but when she says it, it's going to sound Paluch. You can hear her laughter as she's like, "Oh, you're making me uncomfortable." God, I love your name. I love your name so much, and I fuck it up every time. But here we are. I'm forgiven, yes?
I love it. I'm going to try and say it like you do now.
Do you just kind of like sneer with like a sexy eye curl of your nose?
I don't know if I can pull that off, but we'll see. I'll try.
Do it to me. Give it to me.
Paluch.
Yes, no, I think that's beautiful.
You guys, you should have seen her face. Do it to the camera. Do it to the camera.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Paluch.
Paluch.
Oh, look at it. She did a little shoulder shake afterwards. You feeling yourself, girl?
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay,
Now it's time to get serious. Drop in.
let's breathe a little bit. I don't think it needs to be serious. We're like in a playful mood. Let's keep it light, boop, and playful. You too can boop your business partner. And if you can't boop your business partner, you might have the wrong business partner.
Yeah, you should always be able to boop somebody. You take your forefinger, preferably on their left side, you put it to their nose, and you go boop with a little press.
It's weird
It's
and
not
nice.
weird. Don't pretend it.
But you can own it.
Guys. People are here for the weird. Otherwise, they would have not stopped listening a long time ago.
Okay.
Like, look at this.
Here
I am
we
what
are.
I am. Be who you are.
Shall we?
We shall.
Okay.
I'm going to close my eyes so I don't look at you.
Okay, I think that's a good plan. Now, you may not be able to close your eyes where you're at, and that's totally okay, but I am just asking you to get in tune with your senses. And if it feels good for you to be able to be still, that's also a great way to pop in. Can you feel your seat? Can you feel being held by that seat? Can you feel your feet? Whether they're on the ground, in shoes. Just feel the texture of what your feet are touching. Can you feel in your next inhale the air come in at the tip of your nose? Can you feel on your next inhale the air come in and travel down into your ribs and let your ribs expand? Can you feel the temperature on your skin? In the room you are in? Can you feel the clothes on your skin? What do you hear? Do you hear anything underneath that main sound. You smell anything? Can you taste anything? Finally, if eyes are closed or open, what do you see? Coming back into that breath, coming back into that inhale at the tip of your nose, feeling your ribs expand. Then noticing the quality of your exhale. Maybe the temperature changed, maybe the length changed. Take in one more breath for me. Maybe hold at the top. And exhale. Bring it on back. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Kimmy, to our spot. Thanks for joining us.
I want to know the origin of your last name.
So,
Yeah. Who is Kimmy? Talk to us about.
I mean, that's not my maiden name. That's my husband's name. And so I had to come up with a mnemonic of how to remember how to say it too, because it's Polish. And so Polish, it's a simpler Polish name because most of the Polish names have way more consonants in it. But yeah, it's Polish. And
honestly, I was doing it with a French accent, which is my bad.
It can be pronounced more Italian. A lot of people say Paluch, which is not right. But then I learned just pretend the C is not there and you get it pretty close to how Polish say it. Paluch.
Yeah, I know you say it so much better than we do. Okay, say it again. Say it again.
Paluch.
Okay, and what's your maiden name then?
Powell. And so...
Oh, they're so similar in so many ways.
I know exactly why I couldn't hyphenate. Because originally I was like, I'm going to hyphenate. I'm one of 5 girls. So I knew that if I took my husband's name and all of us took our husband's names, the Powell name is gone. So I always thought when I get married or if I get married, I would hyphenate. And then I listened to it and I was like, there's no way I can hyphenate these 2 names. Powell, Paluch. Like, who wants to say that?
Actually, honestly, that sounds pretty sick.
I didn't like it.
You sound like a goddess of like some remote island where you would be worshipped.
So much work for my mouth.
Palu.
Yeah, palu.
Powell, Paluch.
It's kind of cool.
I do. It sounds like a pump. Like,
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
get pumped up.
Yeah.
By it.
Now it has more of a ring to it. At first I was like, I just can't do this.
That's fair.
Tell us your origin story.
So I started out, so as I mentioned, I'm one of 5 girls. I grew
What
up
was
in
that like?
Jamaica.
Where are you in the birth order?
I am the baby.
Oh my.
And
We're the oldest. You know, we're the opposition. You know.
There we go. No, I was baby of the family. We were all very close. So between me and the eldest is about 6 years. So it happened quickly.
Yeah.
One's a half sister. And actually, that's a crazy story. I met her as a teenager because we didn't know, the 4 of us, that we had another sister until later. So that was a lovely surprise. I love her so much. She lives in England. But yeah, I grew up in Jamaica. Really close-knit family. The reason there were so many of us is my mother, devout Catholic. And so she was going for 6. And I always say she met perfection, and so she didn't need to get any more kids. But
That makes sense.
basically, they decided to stop. In some ways, she got her 6 because I kind of grew up with also another woman, but my cousin. So there was always like 5 of us in the household at any time. But yeah, Kingston,
How was it?
so
Like
city girl, kind of.
5 girls
Yeah.
growing up in the house together. Like, what was that like?
I loved it. I don't know how my dad survived, but I loved it. Like we would obviously, there was some like cattiness and we would fight and such, but we were all different in different ways. So I was definitely the tomboy of the family. Very close with the sister that was 1 year above me. And then, I don't know, it was kind of chaotic, but kind of fun. We did have to fight over the bathroom, but tomboy, I didn't care. I didn't really need the bathroom that much. And yeah, we for the most part, got along. When there were fights, they called me the preacher. I was kind of devout, like my mother, so I could like recite verses and stuff. I can't do that anymore, but at the time I was, so they called me preacher. Actually, preacher jelly, because I was also kind of, I love this. You know, this is a older sister kind of thing. You can't just give me a name and not put something like diminutive on top of it. So preacher
100%.
jelly was my name, but I would intercede a lot. I was like the mediator. So if two of the sisters were fighting, I'd put myself in there. And because I was so devout, I was like, hit me, don't hit her kind of thing. And so it was chaotic and fun though. Yeah, we had our own
And what was
adventures.
Kingston like
In the 80s, 90s?
Yeah.
Born in 82. Yeah, I mean, I was fairly protected not just being the youngest. All of us were fairly protected because it was kind of violent in Kingston at the time. Lots of crime. It's a typical third world thing where lots of haves and have-nots. So when you don't have opportunities, there's just petty crime, but then also pretty violent crime. And so we were fairly protected as a family. In a way, it made us closer. I was very close with my sisters. They were my friends. Like when I think about who I grew up with and hung up with the most, it was my sisters, which was kind of beautiful. But it also meant that I didn't necessarily experience many things when I was younger because it was insulated package of the family does everything together for the most part.
Does that change how you feel about being Jamaican, like as part of your identity?
It affects it. I don't know if it changes it. It frames it.
It frames it. Okay, that's a better word for it.
So it's funny because I'm the one, no matter where I live, I will lock all the windows. I'll make sure the doors are locked at night. I will check my rearview mirror if I'm driving. So I carry some of that fear, reservedness, paranoia, I think at all times. And so that's one way it has affected me. But at the same time, I love Jamaica. And when I go there, I feel safe. It's just an interesting dichotomy of how I lived my life as a child and now how I view the country now. Yes, there's crime, but there's crime everywhere. I've lived in other, crime-ridden places. And so it comes down to perspective. How you view the world is how you decide to view the world, but it's also affected by how you grew up. So I love Jamaica. I love going there. Honestly, I wish I had stayed in many times because I don't love winter. But I do know...
I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're not really necessarily like a snow fan.
No, what I've decided is I like visiting winter. So I love to play in the snow. I snowboard, I ski now. I love playing in the snow, but I don't want to live in it. I don't want to shovel it. I don't want to see it every day. I want to choose when I get to go there. So that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, I think in many ways, growing up that way, I think it did make me more resilient. It makes me appreciate the freedoms I do have.
Yeah.
And I think it has probably made me take more risks in life because I lived in a place where you're so fearful to do anything. Like at the end of the day, we could get hit by a bus. Like we have to choose the lives that we live. But I love Jamaica. It's a beautiful country. I actually feel sad that there's a lot of tourists that won't go there because they've heard all the crime stories. And so I don't want to perpetuate that. I think that we have to acknowledge when you're not in a safe place, you just be more careful and you don't flaunt things that you have or, you need to be aware of it, but not let it control you or make you not
what's
enjoy
funny
it.
is like when you say that, I think of when I first moved here to Salt Lake, I had a friend who was like, I can't believe you moved to Salt Lake. It's so dangerous there.
Really?
And I was like, what? It was the only place that his wife had had an altercation. She was mugged.
Oh, wow.
And it was a reminder to me actually in like kind of the opposite of what you're saying in the same vein though, of like, even when you think some place is safe, just be generally aware. You're always in a better position than if you're just like floating around in either camp, whether you're overly fearful or, overly, I'm fine. No big deal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And
Do you think this is why you have a tolerance for risk?
I think it has affected it. Yeah.
Okay.
In two ways. One, I had the safety net of my family. So I was allowed, if you think about it as a baby, or the baby of the family.
We're the old people.
Okay, well, let me explain it
Tell
to
me
you.
more. Yeah, I want to learn.
Older siblings.
Educate me.
The older siblings get the worst of it. So actually, I had a path set for me where I actually had
Thank you for
more
acknowledging our pain,
liberties.
Kimmy. Our younger siblings would never do that for us.
No, I had more liberties. I will say
sure.
that. And I didn't have to fight as hard for different things I wanted. So in a way, like I will acknowledge that somebody had it harder and therefore I should not take it for granted, the things that I'm able to do.
Are you listening, younger siblings? This is like your karmic lesson. No, that's excellent. That's
cool.
excellent on so many levels that you're reframing it as, this is how I can live. I love
Younger
that.
siblings, take note and please don't blame me.
You can blame me, Rocky.
Did your parents like plan? Were they like, because they were so protective, were they like, okay, did all of the siblings go out of country to college and like, or was that your idea that you're like, cool, I'm breaking out? Like, how did that come about?
So interest, not my idea. I wish I could claim it. My father got to the point where there was an incident that happened in Jamaica, where basically a gang group that was related to drugs outgunned our own army. They had to pull the army in to basically deal with this altercation, and they got outgunned. And he was basically in shock and really scared for the country and saying, where is this going? And he happened that night to be sitting in a bar beside a politician, and he asked the politician that question. He's like, what are you going to do when we can't even deal with the crime with the militia that we have? Where do you go from here? And the politician did not have a good answer for my father. And that was kind of his wake up moment where he said, I need to get my girls out of this country. It's like, they are not going to have the opportunities that it's not even fair for our lives. It's just like, where does this economy go if you're living in a place that can't control crime that way? And so it was just at the time where my sister that was a year older than me and I were at a position where I was going into my junior year for high school, and it would have been a good time to go and switch schools. And he had spoken to another friend of the family's. They had sent their kids to boarding schools in the U.S., and he saw where they went to college after that, and he said, this could be a good opportunity. Obviously, education is always a great way to immigrate. So it was kind of his impetus, and then we applied to schools. I didn't know where I was applying. I applied to these schools, and then
You're like looking at like brochures on the internet. This big.
Yeah, and then one school sent like a representative because they wanted to actually get Jamaican students, because our education system is quite good. It's on the British system, but still they would recognize that one, good athletes come out of the runners, of course, out of Jamaica, and then two, the academic institutions were quite good. So I did get to speak to a few representatives, but we both got taken into this school. It's Loomis Chaffee in Connecticut, if anybody knows it, very small. And I didn't even know where Connecticut was. We got in and I had to like pull out a map and say, where am I going?
And you just said pull out a map, y'all.
Yes.
Maps used to be on paper for those of you youngins.
I've already aged myself. I said when I was born.
Are you talking about MapQuest? So, I mean, what was the feeling around that? Because when I think about I'm going someplace I haven't even heard of on a map, I get like a little scared, like a little excited, but mostly scared because I feel like we've now reached a point where I know where everything is pretty much on a map. I'm not surprised anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
and I didn't
know what to compare it to.
You're like going without your parents too, right? Because it's boarding school.
Yeah. So 16, I was grateful that my sister and I went together. That nice. Was huge because it was a hard transition to make. Not only coming to a new country, but a new ecosystem. Like the boarding schools can be quite different. I don't know if you've heard. And so it was really great to have her there. We rested on each other, and in a way, we're kind of taking a piece of home together. So that was very helpful. And it was interesting, that school, it was the first year they'd taken Jamaicans. So they actually took 5 Jamaicans that year. And so I did have some commonalities with people coming in. I knew 2 of them at least personally before. So that was helpful. But yeah, it was scary as hell. 16 years old and being shipped off from a protective family. Like they would only let me play in the backyard, and now you're sending me to another country to go live on my own. Thanks, parents. But yeah, I'm immensely grateful that happened because it completely changed the trajectory. I did know I wanted to come to the US for university, because if you think about the best universities, a lot of them are here. So it was just getting a jump on that thought or that dream, but I wasn't ready for it. And so it was cool. I think
Did you come kicking and screaming, or were you like, you're right, we should go?
No, I agreed with them. I was excited about it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And where'd you go from there?
So Connecticut first, and then I went to New Hampshire because apparently I really like the cold, even though I said it.
I'm like, you keep picking places that are cold, darling.
But yeah, college was fun too. So I went to Hanover in Dartmouth College, and that was another funny thing because immigrant story, like, and this is part of what we think about now, is like I had no clue what I was doing. Even though I was in this school, they're supposed to help me figure out, find the right college for you and all. I applied to about 30 schools. I had no idea what I wanted. And this college counselor, whoever he had at the time, I'm sure they're better now, he did not know what to tell me either. So I was just like, well, all of these schools sound great. You read these brochures again in a book. I had the gigantic book of like the 100 schools. And I'm reading like, this sounds great. This sounds great. I was like, I don't know what I want. I knew I wanted to do computer science was the only thing. But I just like did a blanket. I did the Common App. So half of them were like that. And then others I did. And then I just said, okay, let's see where I get in. And then I'll decide. And so I got my acceptances. But it was the only school I visited. I went up to New Hampshire after I got the acceptance. And I loved it. The people were weird, which I loved. I was like, my people are here.
Do you think of yourself as weird?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I'm a big weird.
What's weird about you? Give me some fun facts.
Yeah, I guess. No, you're going to get into like what's perspective. I'm a complete nerd. I started with math and computer science. I don't know. It depends on when you meet me. I remember I went to, in business school, I was hanging out with these neighbors. And I was at MIT at the time, and people were like, oh, you guys are weird. You don't know how to like interact socially with people. I'm like, you're talking to one of us right now. But yeah, depending on the day, I can be quite socially awkward. I'm a tomboy.
Yeah.
I'm a weird, like, I don't mind. I'm not the typical girl that gets like salons and facials and all this stuff. Like, I'd rather be outside, like working in my yard or doing something outside versus like,
yeah, you sound like a total weirdo.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I have a math degree and I went to a polytechnic school, and I joined the Mensa group, which is where you like do basically these unsolvable.
What does Mensa stand for?
It doesn't stand. As far
Super
as I know,
smart.
It's not an acronym, but it's
super smart.
well, it's a club.
SS.
It's a club thing. So you would go do unsolvable problems, like problems that are still in progress for scientists and mathematicians to figure out. And it was a Friday night, and that was like a fun fucking Friday night. It was like,
I'm with you. I would have been doing
soda,
She's so
work
stoked.
on some unsolvable math problems, bitches. And we're like doing proofs and shit. And I just remember like, I'm weird.
No, I like
Friday Night Rager.
I think weird is also when you just don't care what other people think. And
yeah.
I'm definitely in that camp. Like, I will embarrass the hell out of anybody I'm around. Like, I'll dance in public. Because again, this is a whole liberty and freedom piece. Is like, who cares? Who cares if someone's laughing at the end of the day? You enjoy your life the way that you want to enjoy your life. And everybody else can just suck it.
Okay, we're done now.
Yeah, I know.
Glad we wrapped it up.
Kimmy,
you know what? We forgot to even introduce you.
No, she's been introduced. She's like,
myself.
people don't like it, suck it. That's fucking good.
Pretty much.
And I said her name 12 times. So incorrectly. Paluch.
I'm just going to take Rocky to introduce me everywhere now.
I know, right? I've got my
It makes me
voice.
sound so sexy, even though I'm really a weirdo.
Hey, I was doing Mensa problems. You can be sexy and weird.
There we go. I like
Two
it.
things can be true at the same time.
Amen. Amen.
No, I love that. I think that's really cool. I am curious, like, what sort of risk do you attribute to this transition in your life? Like, what risk have you taken that people go, wow, and you feel is either like, oh yeah, like that's just wasn't really a risk, or was really big for you?
Now you're going deep. I guess so many.
That's so cool already.
I mean, although my father made the decision, coming here was pretty wild. And then going
Wild.
to work. Yeah. I've kind of bounced around a lot. So I've been like, I've never lived any place longer than 5 years except here now, and obviously Jamaica. But since that point, it was like New Hampshire, San Francisco, Massachusetts, Boston, Watertown, here, moved twice here. And obviously that's all US right now. But I think each of those required a leap of faith of saying either I'm not growing or I'm not getting what I want. I need to change things. So the most recent move here was probably the wildest. So my husband and I, and that's a whole other crazy story. We've worked and been married together for about 20 years, a little bit over. And people question us that all the time about that. How the heck do you do that?
Yeah.
But we basically got to a point in the Bay Area where we just looked around at the work we were doing and we said, this is not what we want to be doing. It seems meaningless, and all of the work is being decided by somebody else. So we had a consulting company, and basically, startups, corporations would work with them on new product development. And we said, who's making these crazy decisions that I'm working on such a meaningless product? And at the end of the day, we said it was these people. So we're like, let's go be those people. So we decided to become venture capitalists. Even though we had no experience and we had no right becoming investors, we just jumped for it. And I think that's the wildest thing, the risk taking that's required is there's
To Utah, no
to
less.
Utah. Yeah. So we basically, we didn't have the experience or anything. We said we have to prove it out ourselves. We sold everything we owned and put it into starting this. We chose Utah, crazily enough, because we had never lived here, but we visited twice. And on the second visit, we're like, this is where we need to be. Because we just saw the opportunity. We saw the tech ecosystem growing here and how big and promising it was. We also saw that women weren't getting the time of day here when it came to getting money or giving business opportunities.
And this is why Kimmy's on the podcast.
So we said, hey, why not here? And I've shared with many people, once we made that decision, everybody questioned it. They're like, why there? And I said, why not here? And part of our thought was, and I'll just be very frank about it, if you can do something like this in probably one of the worst places to do it, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
And so the point was to not pick the best ecosystem or one that was further along in potentially changing the landscape. It was to try and change the landscape. And so that was probably the biggest leap of faith, the biggest chances that we took, and certainly the biggest economic risk that we took, because we basically took everything that we owned and poured it into trying to start something new in a new place, in a place that nobody believed it could be done or that we should be doing it.
I mean, that's so amazing, because I think it's so common for us to go to a space that is easier when you're in a place that it feels hard already, right? It's easy to like run away instead of, I don't like what's happening here, so I'm gonna actually dig a deeper hole for myself, essentially. But how has it worked out for you? What's the, as you dug this hole?
8 years. What are the lessons?
Yeah. Venture capital is difficult because it's one of those jobs they keep saying you don't know if you're good until you're 10 years in. And so I'm 2 years away from that. So I'll tell you in 2 years how it's going. No, the
Because
truth is,
of the exits, like you won't have
it
the
just
exits.
takes time.
Proof of concept.
So we invest first check, pre-seed, the earliest check that can come in. And so it takes a while for those companies to exit, usually 10 years. But if we're honest, it's taking longer now. And so I think that's why they say it takes so long to know if you're good at this. And even when you do have a win, you begin to say, was that luck? Was that because I did something right? Is it because I'm smart, or did I just get lucky? And then so maybe you need another 10 years to know, okay, no, I can't repeat this. So I think it's one of those that you're always having a crisis of confidence because, and this is in startups, let's be honest.
Yeah.
All along the way, you're being told you're crazy, this will never work. And you don't know if they're wrong until you prove them wrong, right? So it's you have to constantly be giving yourself a pep talk and telling yourself, no, I'm doing all the right things, and just be confident that the outcome will come. But I think right now we are doing amazing. One, we did raise the first institutional fund. So people believed us that this could be done. Two, I see it in my founders. The people I invest in are the grittiest founders you will find, because they are the ones that are fighting that fight internally and externally, being told you can't do this. Why do you have the audacity to do this? And that's the evidence that I need. Every day, even if it's on this roller coaster they're on, that's where I find my confidence that I'm on the right track, is because I see the wins they're getting. If they get a new customer, if they get a new investor. So those are the small wins I have to look out until I can get a huge exit that tells me, no, yes, you are good at your job.
There's not that many times that people in these these long-term projects, like we're doing, like you're doing, that you have these moments where people are going to tell you, hey, you're doing a great job. So you've got to do it for yourself, right? So my question to you is, how do you do that?
How do I tell myself that it's
Because like you said, it's a crisis of confidence all the time. Like, and you're still in it 8 years in.
Yeah.
And you're still here. So you are doing it. So how do you do that again, in Utah, in a interesting, strange place to do this whole thing?
Yeah. What I will say is that I look at my other entrepreneurial experiences. My husband and I have been partners in everything. We've started several companies together. And the ones that we did that didn't work, I know exactly why they didn't work. It's because our heart wasn't in it. We chose a problem that looked good on paper, that had a business, premise that was easy.
Yep.
But we didn't fundamentally believe in whatever it was we're trying to change. We didn't really care about the problem and that it was going to be earth shattering. So how do I fill my cup? When it's depleted, I remind myself of that. Why am I doing this? It's because I didn't believe in all of the things that I saw before, and I'm trying to create something new. And creating something new is hard. And you're always going to have haters that are going to tell you it's impossible or it's stupid. And so I just recenter myself on the mission. It's like, why am I doing this? And some of my why is actually deeper than the things that we've talked about. So I talked about my family. My mother was an executive in banking in Jamaica. And she got to a certain point where she could never crack the glass ceiling. She was general manager or executive director of a bank and really should have become president many times over. And every time they would put, and I have no qualms about men, I want to say this before this, but they were incompetent men that were placed above her several times where she was basically doing their job. That always rubbed me the wrong way. She had 30 years. She was loyal to that bank, stayed with them for all of those years, and was never rewarded with the position she should have had. That pissed me off thinking about that. And to know that, she passed away, never being recognized for the greatness that she had created with that bank. So that was one thing. And then the second was my own experience. So when I was in the Bay Area, the first time I moved out there with my degree and my hopes, I couldn't get hired as an engineer. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. It's like, what's wrong with me? Why nobody would hire me as an engineer? I had an honors degree from a great school. I knew I could code. I was competent in my job, and nobody would hire me. The only job I got in coding, well, beyond consulting, because I did work with some great small companies, was a minimum wage job that was 3 hours away from where I lived, in a basement with some dudes, and I just could not do it. I was like, I can't. This doesn't feel right, and I can't have the energy to do this. And so looking back at that experience and all the other things that my mother, my sisters, I've seen them be stepped over, all of these stepping over, just at the end of the day, at a certain point in my career, I look back and said, this is wrong. And it's happening everywhere, in every industry, in finance. And the one I was in was startups and entrepreneurship. And it's like, I have one place where I can make a difference. So rather than looking at my resume and saying what I don't have, I looked at what do I have? And then where do I need to fill in the gap? And the thing I needed to fill in the gap with was financing. And it's like, I can learn that. So I Googled, I researched, I figured out the venture capital industry. I worked as a fellow, and I was like, this is doable. But I think at a certain point, I had a breaking point and said, what am I doing with my life? And why am I accepting all of these really injustices that I just keep witnessing over and over? And that's why I sold everything and moved to Utah.
Fuck. Yes.
So cool.
I had chills like 4 different times during that story.
It was also sad too in so many places. You said it so beautifully. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
We can see it, we can experience it. And then I think the power is when we go, oh, and other people are experiencing this too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then what can we do, or what can I do to serve these other people? And I think that's, humanity. And women are so good at this, right? We are so like, oh, I see it happening with you, and I see it happening with you, and like, I want to help you. and I want to help myself, and like, let's all help each other. And
Yeah.
that's so beautiful that you guys have done that.
Thank you. I think the thing that I've had to evolve in with this work is recognizing where I can affect and where I can't affect. And so we have chosen to have a geographic kind of purview. We'll do everything but Bay Area in the US for now. Eventually, I do want to do global because I know that this is not limited to the boundaries of the US. It's not even limited to North America. The other thing I think I've had to realize is what injustices are we going to try and fix? Because you can't do everything at once. So I think we started with women and people of color, which are at the bottom of the list when we look at how much funding those two groups get. And then we started to look at what else are people being discounted for. Geography, certainly. You can't do this in Kansas City. You can't build $1 billion business in Kansas. You can't build $1 billion business in Midvale, Utah. Maybe they accept Provo. And so looking at those things, but then also looking at the things that, the networks that you're closed out from because you came up from a disadvantaged or poor upbringing, or you didn't get to go to some fancy Ivy League school. So that's the purview that we've expanded to. Is like there is surface level discrimination, but we have to realize that there's also much deeper discrimination that happens. And those two things are often tied together. So that's the purview of the work. But then I've kind of have to ignore the stuff I can't do for now.
Which is so hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been yelled at before, like, why not do this in the Bay Area too? It happens there. And yes, it happens there. I lived through it. I know that that's the case. But at the same time, you need to also know where you can affect and affect most. And then you build on it.
And just for context, because I'm not familiar with like venture capitalism, why would San Francisco, I have a guess, but why would San Francisco not be on your geographic purview?
Yeah, so the first point was because 50%, roughly, it depends on the year, but between 40 and 50% of all venture capital goes back into the Bay Area. And so with such high capitalization, there's less that I can affect. My drop of dollars is not going to make much of a difference. It would make a difference in a place like Salt Lake. It will make a difference in a place like Virginia. So that's one thing. I remember Melinda Gates, when she started her work in, empowering women and looking at how do we change economic opportunities for women. She mentioned it takes a lot longer or a lot more work to move a massive ship than a little boat. Like it's much easier to direct something that's smaller. And so that's part of the reason. The second part of the reason is the obvious one. It's freaking expensive to run a company there. And so if I think about just capital efficiency and founders that can do a lot with a little, that's going to happen more outside of that ecosystem. Yeah.
I mean, I thank you for explaining that because that was my best guess, but it's also like context for listeners, and that's helpful for anybody who's not, familiar with venture capitalism, and also the economics of it is so interesting. But I think what's also crazy is like when you tell me, and you've said it a couple times, you tell us, and I got criticized for it, and I'm like, who the fuck are these people criticizing anyone attempting to do something impactful? Like, why is it that the turnaround response in a lot of different ways is, well, why aren't you doing this? Instead of, hey, thanks for doing this in this. Because I want the person, this is probably just me bitching at this point. I want the person who's like, why aren't you doing blah, blah, blah? I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Why don't you step up and do something? Like you got fire energy over here with your criticism. I'd like to see you turn that into some action. Let's go. You want more in San Francisco? Go make it happen. You want more over here?
Yeah, I like your response.
That's better.
No, I mean you two understand this. You're doing things that are very difficult. And the truth is, for people, the easiest thing to do is to criticize something someone else is doing.
It's so crazy.
Because you can, it's easy for you to sit back and say, you should do this and you should do that. And then the second easiest thing is to just say, oh, that's a problem. Yeah. And then sit back and do nothing.
These are not good chills. I'm getting the chills of the like, that's a problem, that's a problem, that's a problem. Like, where's your solution?
Right.
Bring
So
them
the
to the
criticizers, the just like complainers, and then the doers. And I'd much rather be in the doer camp. So
And you are.
Yeah.
You are.
You are.
And I want more people in the doer camp too. I think that's the other, like, I really want those people who are sending criticism towards people who are making impact, which includes you. You are making incredible impact. Anyone who's criticizing you, I just want them to be like, do you need a hug? Do you need to be encouraged that you can do it too? You're capable and powerful also. And I think it really is that. But
it is that. And I think it's just like, it's easy to criticize from the cheap seats, right? So there is the criticism of, I try and really think about, is this criticism from the cheap seats, or are they in the arena with me? Because if they're in the arena with me, if you are going to criticize me, hey, that really didn't land, this was weird, like I'm really going to listen. But if someone's in the cheap seats, I'm trying to, is there any truth to it? And I'm going to leave the rest, because they're not in the arena, and it's the best I can do, and it's the best way I can keep doing the work, I think. But it doesn't mean that I don't, sit on the corner and cry about it when it happens, because it is a tricky thing to stay focused on your purpose and on your mission to, okay, how do we change what company makeups look like if we want to change equality, big goal that we all have here. How do we do that? You're doing that through venture capital. I want to have companies look different that get funded, the ideas that get funded. I want the people from different schools a state school get funded, like Kansas City, right? So it is so hard. It's so hard to keep that focus. But I think if we can, like, I don't know, keep the haters out.
Yeah.
I really then can do my work. But when I kind of let the haters in, I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, I'm not friends with those people. Like, I don't really let that in as much as possible. It doesn't mean I don't want criticism, because I need to do good work. But I also
you don't want to surround yourself with yes people, but you also can't surround yourself by just naysayers always. And it's true, we have to protect ourselves, because we already, as I said, have this internal battle that we're having of, am I good enough? Can I do this? And so if you're having external forces repeating that same thing, it's not in anybody's benefit. I also, to your point about the hug, I do think some of them need a hug.
oh my gosh, yes,
so much.
Mostly men.
Yeah.
Angry men need lots of hugs.
But I also think maybe they need the push, the impetus. Like, if I think about my own experience, I could have just lived and kept doing what I was doing in the Bay Area for years. But it took a push. It took a nudge. Something had to happen. This is like physics now. You can't stay in motion or, not. And so some of them might need to just hear it. And if it's not landing with them, if you can't convince them, that's not your job. But I do also hope or wish for them that they get that moment of push. And for a lot of men, it's like having a daughter. Some don't get that fortune. So it might be something else they witness, working with an amazing woman and seeing what she's going through.
Getting hired by an amazing woman.
Exactly. And so I just hope that there are more pushes in our society, and the more that people are doing this work and being public about it, the more pushes I think can happen. And it's, it's going to take some laggards a long time to come along, but they're going to come along. It's like, this is the arc of justice. I feel that we are on that arc, and I can only hope that continues to happen. One of my pushes actually was a bad experience. I went to...
you anticipated my question. Yeah, go. This is literally I'm like, what was your push? Okay.
I was working with a former boss, an amazing woman who I followed to like 2 different jobs. And she got this opportunity for us to like go work with Hasbro in Rhode Island. And so they arranged this amazing day where they brought all of these toy innovators. I was in the toy space. I've worked in a lot of different industries. We went in this like 2-day session where we were just going to brainstorm different things. So at the end of the 2 days, we had this kind of happy hour at the end of the day. And so we were all sitting around and, cheering ourselves for all the great ideas we came up with or whatever. And one of the men at the end of the day handed me his glass and said, "Thank you so much for this time together," or arranging all of this.
Oh my God.
Exactly my reaction.
I'm over here speechless.
We were in the same room, the same 2 days, sharing ideas, working together. And he assumed that I was support staff or server, I'm not sure, and handed me his glass at the end of the day. And to your point about naysayers and haters, I had a moment of shock. I don't even know what I responded now. It probably wasn't really good. I want to say I had a great zinger, but I did remind him. I was like, I'm here just like you. I think it's something simple like that I just said out of my shock. But Was
he horrified or was he an asshole?
He laughed it off or something. No, I don't think he probably doesn't remember this event. I do.
Yeah.
But I walked out of the event at the end of the day. I called my husband and I did actually start crying. And this is probably one of the first times where I've had interactions of being diminished where I cried. And I was like, I don't even understand how this just happened.
Yeah.
And how I feel so worthless by the perception of one person. But it really hit me. And I was like, this is devastating. So anyway, he talked me down, helped me feel better, went to sleep. The next morning, he had written me this entire long email, my husband. And the subject line was, the world needs you. And he laid out.
I love Sergio
basically,
so much.
Sergio's the best. Paluch. I still have the email. So I can share it with you all. But he laid out basically, because we'd been feeling this tension in Bay Area for a long time of what are we doing? Are we really doing what we want to do with our lives? And he laid out like, look at what's happening in startups. The number of women that are investors, he put it in the note. It was short. It was 9 women or something like that were recognized investors. I'm sure there were probably a few more. He's like, look how short this list is. This is ridiculous. I think you could be on this list. I think you could be part of fixing what we know is wrong. And so it was that moment and that letter, that was my push. Where I was like, yes, I do want to be part of the solution. I don't want to be the person sitting on the side saying, that's wrong, when I could do something. So that was my moment.
Oh my God, I love when people love each other. Like, it doesn't have to be romantic, but like, what a fucking gift when men step up and remind their partners, and when sisters step up and remind their sisters, and moms step up and remind their daughter, and they're just like, any relationship you're in to be like, I think you can change the fucking world.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's how it's always done. Like at the end of the day, love and pushing each other, this is what creates movements, what creates change. And it's something so small. And what is funny is like, we are looked at as a married couple running a company. And some people look at that as, I would not be where I am without that letter, without Sergio. And we are doing this together. And I think it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't work for everybody. But at the end of the day, love and, empowering people, that's how we make ripples that change the world. And so that was my moment.
that's a beautiful moment.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Kimmy for president. Kimmy for president.
Let's have joint presidents, actually. I kind of like the idea of like Sergio and Kimmy sharing like a co-presidential situation where they're like, look, find your people that you love.
The first family. I love that.
Rise
But
their
yeah,
kids.
I mean, men play a role in this. And that's the thing that, and I think, I wish they felt more welcome, because I know there are more and more men like Sergio. And, part of why Sergio is like such a feminist too is like he's worked with amazing and for amazing women. And so I want us not to have an us and them and that only women have to fight this fight. It's not true. And so I know it's uncomfortable when the man comes into a room like this and they're the only one. We know what that feels like.
Yep.
But do it anyway. Do it anyway, because we cannot do this alone. We cannot.
I honestly don't know how many men listen to our podcast, is my initial thought. And then I'm like, actually, all the people who compliment me on our podcast, aside from, like some internal people of Maven, are all men. And I am always finding myself saying exactly what you said, is that, I don't want the next phase of feminine to be like, fuck men.
No.
It needs to be this beautiful, like, embracing of, we're all human. It doesn't matter if you're male, female. It doesn't matter what color of your skin, the ideal dream, if you will, of all of this stuff. But it is beautiful when we get to see it and we get to watch men brave enough to walk into a room of all women and take the brunt of it, take the praise for it, they're just willing to be in the room to take anything from us and then still turn around and go, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
And knowing that it's not diminishing. I think that's why we're
Yes.
in the problems that we are now, why there's this pullback from DEI. They think that because one group advances, it's diminishing someone
It's
else.
not.
And
Yeah.
it's so nuts. Talk about thinking in scarcity. Like we all rise together. It just boggles my mind. It just seems like such common sense that we should not be in the moment that we're in. And yet we are. It's like people can't even talk about this work now. And that pains me. It's because like we're not trying to diminish anything else. We're just saying the systems have been made in a way that is keeping groups down. We have to work to undo it, because if you don't, nothing changes. And they're saying like, oh no, now we're giving a leg up to people. We are trying.
Thank God we're giving a leg up to people. Oh my God, how dare we help the world?
Let's be honest with ourselves here. So anyway, it is mind-boggling to me that we're in this moment where we're questioning this. My favorite quote on this stuff is a Bob Marley one, which actually came from an African leader, but in the song War, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance as the color of his eyes, we'll have war, essentially. And it is so true. Like, we're not asking anybody to be colorblind or anything like that, but we do need to recognize that our systems have created inequalities that we have every power to fight against if we recognize those systems and tear them down. Change them in some way, let's say, not even throw it all out. And so for me, this work has become my life's work. This is the mission, and it's important.
It is important.
I've been fortunate to be with you in many rooms that you do this. You just did it just so beautifully. I think about it as calling in instead of calling out. Two men. Yeah. And you get to be in a lot of powerful rooms, and you create powerful groups. And there's something in the way you talk about this that I just think, I mean, I'm not a man, so I don't know how it lands. But sometimes when I talk about it, I'm like a little more mean. I don't know, a little more man hater probably, because I'm so fucking over, how the systems work. But I just think you do it in such a beautiful calling in way. And is that something that you feel like you're really cognizant about, or you just, I don't know if I'm asking this question right, or if it's just something like you just believe that's how change is made?
I don't know how conscious I am of it. It's just, it's a belief I hold. I think maybe this goes back to the preacher jelly thing, is like in any argument or different side of things, you need to see it from each side. And I think I've just always carried that with me. I don't think it's helpful for anyone to just say that's just wrong or you are just wrong. And certainly not whole groups, you are wrong. Even if we feel it sometimes because it's frustrating. And I'm thinking about our politics.
So am I. We're on the same page.
But then I whenever I do it though, I call myself out on it. I'm like, no, there is sometimes some rationale and you need to understand it. And so I think it's fundamentally human. What makes us exist is love, our families, and our opinions. And opinions are always going to differ. We're always going to clash. But just like going brute force at someone is never the way that you find common ground. And so I think I'm just always trying to find common ground. And if you go back to the very principles of what makes us human, relate there first, and you'll find some kind of common ground. Some people are just never going to come around, and that's okay. But I don't think I'm trying to do it. It just comes out because that's fundamentally what I believe.
I just also think that hate is not going to solve this. Like we've been doing it. It's not working. Like, so this us versus them sort of mentality is like, it is not a direction that it's not energetically how I want to live, but also I just don't think it's solving anything. So this idea that we are all one, we all want the same for our families and our loved ones and the, freedom to choose how we want to live. Right. So I love this finding common ground.
Yeah. I think it even comes back to how we formulated this business. My job is not to disprove you can make money in Silicon Valley. You absolutely can. People are doing it every day. I do not need to prove or disprove that. You will make money the traditional way. What I need to show you is you can also make money this way. Those two truths can exist together. And that's the point. Men can be great, women can be great. Those two truths can exist together. And so that, I think, is fundamentally the point, is it's not an either or.
Yeah.
It
doesn't have to be. I think it's that, like, we think that it's a small pie. The pie just grows, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's interesting, hearkening back to my youth. I had 4 sisters. I now have 2 boys. And
isn't that funny? I was thinking about that.
And I think if I kept going, I would have ended up with 4 boys.
Totally, you would have. Absolutely.
The universe was trying to write itself. But it's been for me interesting to see, or put those two things together, from being from a very, female oriented, predominant, even all of my aunts, they were mostly aunts around,
cousins,
not uncles.
that were girls.
Yeah. So such a female environment to now such a male environment. And honestly, there are differences. But again, if you tear it all back down, what is it fundamentally? It's a family with love and trying to make each other better. And so I think we all need to just bring it back to ourselves, as selfish as it sounds, because if you think about it, it just makes it easier for you to understand another person and why their power matters.
I say be selfish. I mean, I think there's so much power in looking inward at yourself every time that you have a reaction. Like, I got some great advice this past weekend where this woman was like, if you were at like a rally and you were seeing the other side, what would you do? And I'm like, I mean, I'd probably be rallying. So I'd probably be like a little ragey and, getting angry. And she's like, well, what would you do with the other person on the other side? And I was like, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. And she's like, what if you embraced them? And I was like, well, I don't want to embrace them. They're like, but that is actually the best answer is, I'm still going to fight, but I don't have to fight that person. I can fight the concept. I can fight the system. I can fight. But what if that woman on the other side is just like really, really tired and they don't want to keep fighting for something that I want to fight for? They want the opposite because it would just make their lives easier. Yeah. Is that such a fault? No, it's not a fault. And removing that anger against one another and being able to work from this higher space and finding all those commonalities. I mean, isn't it crazy that this has been in existence for thousands of years and we're still like, let's have a podcast where we can remind people. But it's crazy that we have to remind ourselves because, our brains will get in the way. And so when we can come back and think about, why am I mad at this woman? What is happening with me that makes me want to take it out on this woman or clash with this woman and not the system or the bigger thing outside of us? Yeah. That's such a valuable piece of advice that we now call selfish, but it's absolutely not selfish. It's an essential piece.
Yeah. I was mentioning to Tessa earlier that I'm not necessarily the best at building relationships, and I've always been better one-on-one with people than one in groups. And I think in the situation you're bringing right now, groups can be against progress in that way. Because if you're in these, it's hard for you to make the connection one-on-one with that woman that is, hurting in the front. So I think breaking away from groups is also important.
Oh yeah, getting to know people human to human instead of like cause to cause.
Yes.
And getting those individualized stories so that we go, oh, that's right. Kimmy, you're an individual. And Tessa, you're an individual. And we're all sitting here as women, but we all have very different versions of what womanhood looks like and where we came from and how we establish and how we work on things. I think it's great.
I asked Troy Williams, who used to run Equality Utah, how he did that work day in and day out. I think he did it for
long time.
13,
I was
15 years, something crazy.
Yeah. Here, which is so hard.
Here, as a very out gay man, tall, beautiful gay man, who would show up to the Capitol like in eyeliner and fantastic suits, and he developed really close relationships along the way. And I was like, how do you do this for so long and not be burnt out and depressed about how far we still have to go? And he basically said that. He said, I work on planting seeds every time I'm up there, and remembering about their kids' graduation and about, their grandsons, like kindergarten performance. And I relate on the human level because in the end, we're just all families trying to protect our family.
Yeah.
And if I can remember that, then I'm reminding them that I am also just a human trying to protect my family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just such I will never forget that moment because I was just deep in I don't know if we're making any impact, and I don't know, I'm burnt out. This equality shit is hard. Do we really want to do this? And that was his advice, and I loved it. And that your both of what you are saying is reminded me of, gosh, this is a long road. So how do we stay in it?
It's a great story, a great example of being a change maker. How do you two fill your cups? I'm taking notes. I will collect all the things because some moments are really hard. You're crying on the ground and thinking can I keep going? Can I keep doing this?
I think that's a great question. And I think at the moment, because it always changes a little bit, my intrinsic go-to is nature. So I have to get outside. I have to put my bare feet into some sort of dirt, ground, sand, whatever it might be. I need to touch trees. I need to connect with something bigger than myself. So nature, also including animals, but also mine right now is, it was sitting still for the last couple years. Literally just finding stillness was really important because I would have hard time being still. I would constantly be shifting and morphing and adjusting. And after I just settled into it, it was I can actually just be still for long periods of time. And I'm coming out of that right now where I am feeling an immense amount of energy to move. So I'm going back to exercise or movement, but instead of hammering it hard the way I used to, CrossFit, boxing, back-to-back workouts, it's now very much playful, or so it seems to be entering into that space where I just had this aha the other day of I think I want to surf again. I think I want to get onto, I know, I was we should do a surf trip.
Yes.
I think I just want to I don't know, stand up, not stand up, fall down, move around. I was climbing a tree the other day and trust me, it looked like a fucking rat trying to get out of a water drain. I mean, it was just a mess all over the place, but I was having so much fun doing it and laughing the whole time. So I think that's my self-care right now is, and what will be nice is being able to merge all those things together now that the pool of my tools has gotten bigger. I'll be able to say today I need stillness, and in 5 minutes I need movement, and tomorrow I'll need movement, and the next day I'll need stillness. So it's much more robust than it used to be, where it was just fucking beat the crap out of shit, because that used to be my go-to, which I still do now. It's just a little bit, more
less
productive.
In the toolkit.
Yeah, because it's now a tool that I know how to apply, when to apply it, and when it really alchemizes energy in the right way instead of just harming my body. So that's definitely my go-to. And a lot of alone time still, always probably will be. Immense hermiting.
I love that you bring up playfulness because I think I'm a pretty serious person, and playfulness is something that I forget.
You're in the right room.
For self-care, I actually think it's pretty important to remember laughing, to be weird, be silly, dance. My little kids help me with that piece of it. They want to dance to a weird song, and that playfulness I think is important because I definitely forget it, especially when I'm in deep spaces of healing. I'm I gotta sort this out and be inward and be silent and be still. And there is also something so fun about being silly, right? There's just some lightness that can change the entire course of how you feel if you can laugh a little.
Yeah.
So that reminder was good for me because
you're going to come get a wizard staff with me because that's my new thing. I want to go find a wizard staff
I'm here for
branch.
you. I'm here for that.
I want to decorate it with some like runes.
Yep,
I'm gonna
yep.
whittle into it. You can come play.
I put that
You
on.
can come play.
I'd like to
We can all and
That's
then
so fun, right?
get that hair all fucking crazy and just be like, whoa!
I just chopped all my
It's
knob.
like your Rafiki from the Lion King.
I love that was my favorite
See?
character.
There you go. So I think that
Box you on the head.
yeah,
with the thing.
you are Rafiki. I've been thinking that all day. So
And actually, listen.
Yes.
yep, I know. You are just turning into an old croon.
For those not watching the video right now,
I know. I'm shaking my head, and you can hear my earrings.
She's been really into
that is
how
Rafiki.
earrings feel on her neck.
You guys, if
You
you
are
see me
Rafiki.
topless on Halloween with my fucking ass painted red, you'll know why. I got a stab, and I'm like,
like, what are you? I love it.
thank you. That's the best visual ever.
I know, Rafiki.
Yeah, playfulness.
Yeah, playfulness
I'm
is
stoked you're
cool.
embracing it.
So I'm trying to remember that. That is something I forget. So thanks for like bringing it up because I think life still happens. Like when we're in these deep, dark spaces, life is still going on. So playfulness. I really love a sunrise hike. I do a silent sunrise hike about once a week and watch the sunrise. And on my way up, especially this time of year, I will gather wildflowers. And so there's something slow and present about looking for, because I'm taking one stem of each kind of wildflower. And as the elevation changes, the wildflowers change. So that is, when I get to the top, I'm always like, watch the sunrise, blows my mind every time, every single time. And then I think, we're all good. We got this. And so that's sort of it includes a little bit of all of those, right? There's the presence piece, the stillness piece at the top when I sit down, and then the movement piece and nature.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite one currently.
Love that. I might borrow a few of yours.
Yeah,
I like
holler.
the crazy dancing is great. And
It's nice.
sunset. The astronauts that just went around the moon, one of them was asked, what do you recommend for people? And it was just that, is appreciate how beautiful this earth is. They got to see it from a vantage point, many will not, except from the feed. But it's like, there are marvels and miracles happening around us every single day. And we just have to take a minute to touch the tree or look at the sunset. I love nature.
I think that it's a big piece, and it's like guides me in like where I live, how I access it. 2 days ago, I found a flower that I've never seen before, which is wild because I've done hundreds and hundreds of hikes.
Might you call it a wildflower?
It was a wildflower that I'd never seen. So I was kind of like blown away, like, the people I was with, look at this. I've never seen this flower. You've got to see. And they're like, it's just a coral pink flower. I'm like, but I've never
diminish it.
seen
don't diminish its
this
beauty.
particular flower. I don't know what it's called. I've never seen it. I've been up here every spring for, since I was 20, probably. So that's kind of my go-tos.
Just made me think we had this little rainstorm that came in, and there's always these earthworms because we have dirt roads, and so the earthworms come and get like dumped into the road. And a fun thing that my dogs and I do is I'll send them out to find the earthworms. So they go and sniff for the earthworms, and then we scoop them up and we put them back into the offside of the road.
Oh, they don't
You're
bite
saving them. The
No.
dogs are.
They don't bring them. They just find them, and then they look at me and keep looking at the ground. So they
that's cute.
orient
Really
to them.
smart dogs.
They're little Aussies, so they're super smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I scoop them up, and they get to like sniff them and smell them, and we move them away. And it's just such a nice reminder of like these earthworms, which are blind and deaf. They have no capacity to hear or see. They are churning up the underneath of our earth and making it more vibrant for every single wildflower to grow and every single animal to eat what is grown and then to keep moving. And it's so little, but it's not insignificant. It's so impactful, which brings me back to my point of impact. What do you got lined up for us, Kimmy? You like that? You like that metaphor?
That was really good.
That's
Bringing
a
it right back.
transition. Have you done this before?
Rafiki is working her fucking magic right now.
So the mission is still the same, and that's what keeps me centered. It's like, what is my ultimate goal? What took me on this path? How do I keep moving that forward? I don't know what shape that's going to take going forward. So I don't know if you all know, but we're in a transformational moment with artificial intelligence. But for the work that I do, we are looking at how does that impact not just startups, but venture capital. What shape should this take going forward? Should we be doing anything different? Because everybody's saying this is a monumental shift, but by and large, everybody's doing the same thing. So we're taking a moment right now to just think about what should we be doing differently. I'm starting to play with the tools, which I'm geeking out about, and building our own agents and thinking how that helps our companies, but then also us. We're a very small firm, so we could definitely take advantage of these tools to do more, is essentially what we're looking at. And then I think I'm also, looking at the industry and saying, how does it change? And do we do something drastically different? I don't know yet, but I do think this is a moment where we should ask ourselves that question is, we're seeing companies, everybody's inflating this. The one person startup that's going to be this $1 billion thing. I see human in the loop for a very long time. And I think that will continue to be the case. But, how will that change when you don't need to hire so many people? And honestly, if we do move to this world where the machines are doing everything, what are we doing? What's our purpose? So even like as a human, I'm beginning to think about those things. But at the end of the day, these machines aren't changing the thing that I'm trying to solve.
Because they're not getting us closer to equality.
Might actually moving
In fact,
us
they
away
might be
from it.
moving us away because all.
They might be moving us away.
Yeah.
Though they also will, in some ways, could be helping advance. Because I do think about some of the founders, like solo founders that we invest in, or women, and maybe they don't have the talent there. They can do more with less. So both things are again true. So I love that there is opportunity, but there is also this risk of like, fundamentally, are we moving to something better or worse than where we are? So that does, affect things. And then one thing,
Are you feeling like really creative about this? Excited, like bullish? Like what is your sort of like?
More creative and excited about it. I am. I'm the optimist in this room. Like I don't think we're going to doom. I do worry sometimes about the guardrails we haven't put in place, and now it's kind of too late. But more than anything, I am encouraged. I'm feeling creative. I like tinkering, so I like that, being able to build things really quickly. But I'm excited about this because I do think it's a moment of reinvention. And we should ask ourselves, how do we reinvent the way that we're doing things? Maybe not what we're doing, but the way that we do things. And all of us have manual, menial things that we do that we hate. Now is a moment to try and change that. And so I think I'm most excited about that, is making my work maybe more joyful by removing some of the things I don't like to do. But the work hasn't really changed. Like if I look at data and numbers, I can get sad. I can also get happy by the stories that I hear of success, of women that have raised or exited their companies or being recognized as being top, founders. But I don't think enough minds have changed yet. And so my work is not done. How do I keep changing minds? Either I have to put the numbers up and have the data, or I need to tell more stories. Probably both. And I think as I mentioned, I'm a nerd. Data has always driven me. I've become to really, really respect, value story a lot more. Because, we talk about human to human. You need stories in order to change minds.
Yeah.
And so I'm beginning to think about that. What part does that play in the work that I do? Because I've always shared numbers. How do I start sharing story more? So that's where my mind is right now.
I love that, because sometimes the numbers can really open an analytical mind to be curious, which is really where we need everybody's brain. And the stories can open somebody's mind who might be more story forward, open their minds to curiosity. So like, I think you're absolutely correct that it's both things, because not everybody is processing the same or taking in information the same. So like being able to have more people offer, here are the numbers and the stories. Here's the stories and the numbers. I think we get a lot more ears and
Completely agree. And I'm just hoping that we don't keep reassigning our creativity to these tools.
Oh my God.
Because
Yeah.
these tools,
We can make a whole podcast out of this one. Fuck yeah. Oh
they
my
are
God.
going to the median. You will get mediocre results. And I think about that even in my decision making. I would never assign my decision making over to these machines because you will get average results. They are meant to be average. So I'm hoping that we assign the menial things to this and stop using it for our creative stuff. The point is for them to do the laundry and for us to do the creative work, not for it to do the creativity and us do the laundry. And so that's
Yes.
where I'm thinking about.
Preacher jelly.
Preacher
jelly. Say it for the hot people in the back.
At least now you have a DJ name.
I know.
My sisters are gonna love this.
You can offload your laundry to AI so you can become a DJ.
There we go. Yeah. Watch out, that's my next chapter.
Well, thank you so much, Kimmy.
We love you so much.
Absolutely
It was so
wonderful.
fun.
It's so nice to be able to chat with you.
Thanks
for
you.
sharing
Every
all your
single
wisdom.
time I'm with you, I learn something. So I just say thank you for saying yes. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, both of you. This was fun.
Love you.
Love you.
ladies.
Suck it.